Welcome back to 101 East, where we're talking about ASEAN's proposal to establish a human rights commission, one that would include Myanmar as a signatory. Now, there are thousands of Burmese living in refugee camps in Thailand who would likely find this proposal grimly ironic. Each one has a harrowing tale to tell. Here's Sare Hutu's story.
My
brother died when they put a plastic bag over his head. They made it wet and put it over his head. He couldn't breathe, but they carried on hitting him. I saw that myself. My name is Sari too. I'm from Oshake village. I grew rice in the rainy season, and in summer I grew beans. Between those seasons this year, the Burmese troops came to our place. They told me to lie on the ground, but as I bent down, one of the soldiers hit me with the butt of a weapon on the back of my head. When I fell down, another one pulled my hair like this. He shoved a bayonet at my throat here. Then he asked, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just farming." They burned all the rice in my village, so we had no food left. So we came to this refugee camp. Because of the children, we could not come through the jungle, so we had to come through the towns. It was difficult because we traveled with small children. They didn't have much rice, so they complained on the way. So that was hard to take. The journey for one adult on their own takes 2 or 3 days by car. But with the children, it took twice as long. My wife thinks life is much better here. She doesn't have to be afraid all the time. She can stay in the house without worrying. For the future of my children, I think I will send them to school. If they can be educated, it will benefit us, the parents. I don't want my children to return to Burma. We dare not return. If I go back and the army see me, they will kill me. So I dare not go back.
My guests on the program today are from Bangkok, the ASEAN Secretary General Designate, Dr. Surin Pitsuwan. Here in the studio in Kuala Lumpur, we have Rosali Ismail, who's a former UN Special Envoy to Myanmar, and Kin Omar, a Burmese democracy activist. Rosali Ismail, let me come to you. We've seen a couple of films here which encapsulate what has been the position of human rights groups and pro-democracy activists for many, many years. What's your position here? Are we making progress? Do we need to make more progress?
To expect ASEAN countries to gang together to force change in Myanmar is again an optical illusion. It's delusory. It's never happened anywhere. Things happen in a country on the basis of the internal dynamics of that country.
Dr. Surin, surely 10 years of Burmese membership in ASEAN and the approach that has been taken has yielded absolutely nothing. Maybe a new approach, maybe something even slightly different is necessary.
Well, I think things are happening in various capitals. Again, not all at the pace that outsiders or even people from inside are satisfied with. But certainly there have been expression of concern, more vocal, more open, which never happened before. And the fact that there is this mechanism of human rights is something that we can work on, that people can really begin to work around and move again, incrementally. Whether it's better than nothing at all. It's there, and for example, in 1993, you think it's too slow, but if it wasn't there, then there was no pressure to work on the idea. Right. Now that it is in existence, it's something that I think ASEAN will have to work together.
I mean, Dr. Surin does have a point. There have been expressions, stronger expressions coming from ASEAN. This commission may be another example of how things are beginning to move. Do you see any hope in that?
Well, I would like to, but as much as I would like to, look at what is happening right now over the last week. like just very soon after they promised, I mean, the SPDC agreed to set up this Human Rights Commission. It's already more than 100 people already been arrested. The violence is taking place everywhere right now. Even today in Rangoon, the roads are blocked. People being taken away. Such every night, the activists are hiding, and even the mothers with the children are not able to go back because of their peaceful protests on the streets over the last few days.
You mentioned a moment ago that there is no internal dynamic. Do you see one developing here, the events in Yangon as a consequence of the price rise? Do you see that as being perhaps a spark for something bigger?
I am out of touch. I do not know enough of the present situation. One would hope there will be internal dynamics. Not everything is just left to the military, but as far as I can see, the NLD is quite is not doing very much, and Aung San Suu Kyi continues to be detained, and there is nothing really happening that can make a difference. This is why I believe that there must be a combination of effort. The efforts of governments must continue. The UN must go and push and convince the military government that something has to be done. But what I would like to say here, if you give me a bit of time, is that at this point in time, the military authorities is totally in control. So they should be very confident. Whatever they want, they can do. They have got the convention, there will be the results of the convention, and there will be a referendum, and they will get people to agree to the referendum, however flawed that will be. But this is the time when, with all that confidence, they should begin to look around and see how do we then convince our friends around that we want to take the steps to move ahead.
I think the point that you're trying to make is the point that the present Secretary General Ong Keng Yong has made before, and I'll quote you, I've got it down here. We've learned through the past 10 years the way to work with Myanmar is to present a logical and good ASEAN position, and they will find a way to answer our queries.
No, I don't think ASEAN can do it.
Well, that was going to be my question. I mean, you're suggesting that we need to find...
I think China, India have to do it.
Why do you think it hasn't happened then?
Because China and India have not done it. China and India have always looked at Myanmar from the prism of its own basic national interest.
Let me put that to Dr. Surin. ASEAN might as well just give up because you don't have the potential, however hard you try, to make a difference here.
Well, I don't think you can just give up. I think the fact that ASEAN has, expressed its concern and continue to try to find ways to deliver the concern, not only of ASEAN, but of the world, into the leadership in Myanmar, has, in my view, produced some movement in the direction of trying to clarify the situation, trying to reconcile.
Is concern enough? Is concern enough? I mean, you keep coming back to this idea of slow and steady progress, but in the meantime, tens of thousands of people are suffering and dying, and very little is being done to help them. Should there not be a slightly stronger voice? Should you not be condemning and not just expressing concern?
I agree with Tan Sri Razali Ismail that there need to be coordination between internal dynamics and external movement, and he said other organizations, other parts will have to also contribute, and I think that's the way for the future.
Kinoma, are you convinced by any of this?
I would like to see the action, really, because we have seen for all the years the promises and the goodwill expressed from the international community,
and
but we haven't seen the actions yet.
What we're hearing here is pretty much the same conversation, is it? Are you hearing promises of action?
No, I haven't, and I would really like to hope for that. I would really like to see that very much as soon as possible, and I don't want my country to turn like another Rwanda, where the whole international community and UN will just feel regret at the end after tens of thousands of people died. We have already had that experience that people have died, so many, thousands and thousands already died in Burma.
And this is the basic equation, isn't it? Is this not what we fundamentally have to face, and that is we are willing to sacrifice n number of lives before we are prepared to actually do something about it?
This we, what does it mean? I don't understand the we part of it. We, the international community, the international community has let down a lot of people throughout the history. So why is it now that we become to realize this? I'm sorry, but I'm quite cynical about this.
We're seeing the people of ASEAN expressing their opinions at the moment, the people of Myanmar, I beg your pardon, expressing their opinions right now. Some people are suggesting that this is the beginning of something larger, the beginning of a real movement. Do you think that's the case?
I think so. The momentum is already building up, and over the past week, this is something we haven't seen ever since 1988 uprising, where I was involved. And now you see it's not only like Rangoon based, it's just spreading in all different parts of the country. And in a situation like in Burma with very difficult communication channels, people are actually taking up courage and going out to the streets.
All right. Dr. Surin, let me finish off the show with you, if I might, because you're in a position to take this conversation into the future. Now, Razali Ismail has already said we need an internal dynamic in Myanmar to really begin to try and effect some change. We may be, according to Kin Omar here, seeing something of that internal dynamic. Can you commit yourself and ASEAN under your Secretary Generalship to trying to use that internal dynamic somehow more positively than and achieve something more than the past 10 years have yielded?
Well, I think you know, the voice has been increasing in volume, and I think the ASEAN organization, the fact that it has agreed to, you know, to come up with the charter, to come up with the human rights mechanism, already indicate that things are going to move in a more firm direction in the future. So let's hope that all these things, all these dynamics, going to converge, and it's going to bring, you know, some better future for the peoples of ASEAN as a whole. Let us hope exactly that. Thank you all very much indeed. We're going to have to call it quits there. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of 101E. So until next time, it's goodbye.